Hello, everyone, and welcome to the intro or background for the videos that you're gonna see over the next few weeks on this channel. They aren't exactly videos, more like a podcast or like a highlights compilation of a few people talking. But yeah, I just wanted to give a bit of background about the speakers before I post a video. So we are just a group of friends who are football fans, and each of us follow a different team. There's a Man United supporter, there's a Tottenham Hotspur supporter, there's a Liverpool supporter, and we have a Barcelona fan. So we spend a lot of weekends having video calls and talking about football and expressing our wild, weird opinions about the game, about players, about how things are going to pan out over the course of the season. So we just thought that maybe we could record it and put up highlights of our controversial, stupid, and definitely biased opinions on the internet for everyone to enjoy. So yeah, so that's what you'll be seeing over the next few weeks. Uh, just videos or recordings which you could just sit back and enjoy, and nothing that you can take seriously, but I know it's just about a bit of fun and a bit of banter between friends. So this recording is just a test to see how the audio works, and I mean this is the first time any of us are uploading content on the internet, so it's a it's a big step for us. So I just wanted to talk about the top four situation in the Premier League. I mean, it gets interesting day by day. Right now, as we stand, we have Chelsea who are barely holding on to that third place with a points lead over Leicester and United. So Chelsea currently set on 63 points, and Leicester and Man United sit on 62 points. United are below Leicester on goal difference. But what's interesting are the upcoming fixtures, because if you look at the run-in of games till the end of the season, Man United have arguably the easier of the runs, because Man United play West Ham in their next game at home at Old Trafford, and they face a potential nail biter in Leicester on the final day of the season. Leicester, on the other hand, have a tricky game against Spurs. It's fair to say that Spurs haven't been the Spurs of the last few years under Jose Mourinho, but I mean, if I trust anyone to get results from big games, that's Jose Mourinho. So I mean, I would not be surprised if the game ends up being a 1-0 or a 2-1 to Spurs, where they just sit back and absorb all the pressure, and maybe a Son or a Lucas Moura or a Bergwijn gets the winner like the 80th minute. And yeah, as I mentioned before, they play United on the final day of the season. Chelsea, on the other hand, have two hard games. I mean, they play Liverpool next. Fair to say, Liverpool haven't been in the finest of forms, but then again, they wouldn't want to slip up. I mean, it was pretty embarrassing to lose to Arsenal. Uh, it did come down to two mistakes from their defense, Van Dijk for the first one and Alisson for the second. But then again, with a bit of concentration and focus, Liverpool are definitely the best team in the league. So yeah, Chelsea are gonna face a tough task next week. I mean, it's not beyond yeah beyond practicality to expect a point or three for Chelsea, but realistically speaking, with how Chelsea have been, they've been a bit frail at the back. So I'd expect Liverpool to get the 3 points. Leicester, on the other hand, that's going to be a tight game. So let's consider a situation where Chelsea lose to Liverpool, but Leicester pull out a win, and United get a win against West Ham, which everyone expects them to, going by their recent form. They've been a really good form recently. So I'm even surprised that they have ended up in this position, because back in as recent as Feb before lockdown, I did not see United being in a top four race, and certainly not being favorites for the top four. So after game week 37, you can expect Chelsea to be still on 63 points, but United and Leicester on 65. So it's probably going to be Leicester third, United fourth, and Chelsea fifth. So come the final day of the season, this is where it gets really interesting. So Chelsea play Wolves on the final day of the season, which is going to be a tricky game because Wolves are currently not exactly the favorites, but I definitely think, going by the fixtures, that they have a better chance than Tottenham in making the top six. And they definitely deserve to. I mean, I've really enjoyed watching Wolverhampton Wanderers play this year. They played attractive football. They have a clear pattern of play. The manager's done a really good job in handling the squad. And I mean, João Moutinho and Neves are like the most underrated midfield pairing in the Premier League. So yeah, so Wolves, that's going to be a tricky game for Chelsea. But say, but Chelsea need to win that game if they want to have any hopes of getting into the top four. But then again, in the United Leicester game, at least one of the teams are definitely going to drop points. But here's where it gets interesting. So as I mentioned before, going into the last game of the season, the table is going to look like Leicester United on 65 points and Chelsea on 63. Say Chelsea get the win, they'll be on 66 points. So this is where it gets interesting. The winner of the United Leicester game goes through, and the loser goes out the top four, with Chelsea getting the final spot on 66 points. But if it's a draw, then Chelsea miss out because of their low goal difference. So currently the goal difference situation is that Leicester around 31, Man United around 28, positive that is, and Chelsea around 15. And realistically, I don't see them catching up in the next 2 weeks when it comes to goal difference. So the most interesting way to end the season could be that the final day of the season, Leicester and United play out a draw, and all teams end up on 66 points, but just on goal difference. Leicester finished third, United's fourth, and Chelsea fifth. That would be a monumental end to the season. Chelsea do deserve to be in the top four because they've played some really good football with the players they've had. I mean, they did have a transfer ban. They couldn't get a lot of players in, but I think Frank Lampard's done a brilliant job with the squad he's had. But recently, they've been very inconsistent. They've not handled pressure very well. I mean, they have 11 losses, which is quite a lot. I mean, you shouldn't be losing 11 games if you want to make it to the top four. Even Leicester were 20 odd points ahead of United in December, and right now they sit on level points, so they've not exactly had a good second half of the season. Maybe it's partly due to the injury from Maddison and Ricardo on the right in the right back position, and even Jamie Vardy is like recently, he's popped up with a few goals, but he had a big stretch of games where he just couldn't score. The ball just never went in. So Leicester, it would be. I really don't know who, because if the Man City ban was upheld, then that would be like kind of fair for all the teams because all three of the teams deserve to be in the top four. So all three would have gone Champions League, but right now with the ban being overturned, I really don't see Chelsea making it because I'm assuming that they're going to win against Wolves, but you can never be sure about that because Wolves are one of the hardest teams to play against, and especially when they play the top six. I mean, the traditional top six, because right now I don't know what the top six is. The traditional top six, they've been brilliant. I mean, Adama Traore like running at your defense with like I mean like with all the talent they have in midfield and attack. Chelsea, the weakness is their defense. I do not think Marcos Alonso and Kazuma are good defenders, and they they could be yeah. I mean, was that the third goal against West Ham? I mean, what was Marcos Alonso doing? He had to mark the run of Antonio. Sorry, yeah, and he just let them play a run, and yeah, that was a crappy goal to concede. And Wolves, they're gonna put pressure. They're gonna let their fullbacks play as wingers. I mean, Doherty is, even though I'm a United fan, I yeah, I have to agree that Doherty is like the second best right back in the league after Trent, because the he's definitely better defensively than Trent, and in attack he's very good. He's like very good. Like, I mean, Wan-Bissaka's weakness is, I mean, if any of you guys caught the last game against Crystal Palace, I mean, Roy Hodgson played a brilliant tactic where he knew that Wan-Bissaka was the clear weakness in attack, so he just let him free. There wasn't a single guy marking Wan-Bissaka throughout the whole game, and they doubled up on Mason Greenwood on that side. So Greenwood had a lot of trouble getting the ball. He barely got a touch of the ball in the first half, and every time United were forced to switch to Bissaka because he was the spare man. And Wan-Bissaka is a bit uncertain. He's not very comfortable on the ball in the final third. He always looks to be off balance. So, I mean, I know I'm deviating from the topic here, but yeah, Wolves are a hard team to play, and especially when you're playing them in a crucial game. Yeah, in a very crucial game, I expect Wolves to be a real pain to play against. So yeah, so Chelsea have a big task on their hands, even though currently they look like they're third and they're like ahead of the other two teams. Going by the fixtures, they're not at all in a comfortable position. And Leicester as well. I did watch their previous game, and they didn't look comfortable, but they managed to get the win, and that's mostly due to the lack of quality in the opposing team. So against Tottenham, I expect them to have a good fight on their hands, and they need to buckle up. I mean, missing Soyuncu for the last two games is going to be a big deal because he was arguably one of their best defenders. And I did see that Morgan played a centre back for them in their recent game, but he does not look fit. I cannot expect him and Johnny Evans to handle the pace of Pogba and Son or Lucas Moura. They yeah, it's gonna be a big deal. You need to have NDD sweeping up and marking runs in midfield if they have any chance of making it to the top four. Okay, at least getting a win against Tottenham. Man United, on the other hand, let's be honest, they did bottle it against Southampton. I mean, Southampton were pressing them high up the field, and as you've seen over the last few weeks, the United defense is not at all comfortable on the ball. I mean, De Gea and Lindelof and Maguire. Maguire's good on the ball in the sense that when he doesn't have any pressure on him, he's good at bringing the ball to the back. But when there's pressure, when the team's pressing and need to play out from the back, he looks very suspicious. I mean, he's always off balance, and he just tries to launch the ball forward. There's no control in his passes. That is going to be a big deal. Another thing which could affect the top four race is the FA Cup fixture coming up, because let's be realistic. The teams played a Premier League game on the 16th. They have a FA Cup game on the 19th, and I think they return to action on the 21st and the 22nd. I do not think you can play the strongest starting 11 in both those games. I mean, especially for Chelsea, going by how difficult the Liverpool game is, they will probably prioritize the FA Cup over the Liverpool game this week. As far as United are concerned, I mean, Ole has been really stubborn with rotating the squad, and that's actually work to his disadvantage over the last few weeks, because I agree that the team is in amazing form, but naming an unchanged squad for 5 weeks in a row, 5 games in a row, sorry, is pretty stupid. He needs to rotate. I mean, as rested as the players are, or as good as a form they're in, they're gonna get fatigued, and with fatigue comes lack of sharpness. In the recent games, they haven't been quick enough, they haven't been sharp enough. That one-touch passing's gone away. So he needs to rest at least one of Bruno or Pogba, and maybe get them on the 70th minute or 60th minute if the game's not going your way. But he needs to rest players, because he can, like, West Ham are going to be fighting for a position in the Premier League, because they're playing a crunch fixture against Watford today. That's like a 6 or even a 9 pointer, because both of them are 3 points ahead of the 18th position, the final spot in the relegation zone, and a game in hand. So you can say that the team that wins this game is probably going to be safe. So yeah, so I expect West Ham to get the win, because they've looked pretty good recently. I mean, no one expected them to get results against Chelsea, and recently Antonio got that crazy 4-goal game where they seem to be confident, they seem to have the belief and the fight. So United are not going to have a walk in the park against West Ham. They're going to face a good fight. It could work to their advantage, to be honest, because the worst thing you can do as a team playing United is attack them and not score goals, because they are blisteringly fast on the counter and extremely clinical on the counter. So that being said, it's going to be an interesting week. Good FA Cup games coming up with Man City and Arsenal and United and Chelsea. So let's see how things go. As a United fan, I hope we make it to the top four. I'm pretty confident we will, going by our fixtures and the form we're in. But in the Premier League, you can never say. You can never say. You're just a draw away from, or a late goal away, crappy goal away from not making it. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed listening to whatever crap I was talking about for the last, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. Or could be less than that. I have no idea. So yeah, you guys should tune in from next week to see how we how we how we make things a bit weird by talking about random things about football. So yeah, so this week's recording, it's primarily going to be our Champions League predictions. It's funny because like only Barca is in the Champions League right now. Like none of Spurs Spurs are, but you know what I mean. So none of us are in the Champions League. Not exactly going to be favorites. So I mean, there's nothing for. I mean, yeah, United fans are hoping that they're going to be in the Champions League next year, but I know you can never say. So it's just an interesting discussion. So I mean, a lot has changed since lockdown. Teams which were favorites to win before the lockdown may not be the favorites to win after the lockdown. So with all the quarterfinal, semi-final draws, and yeah, we're just gonna see what each one of us thinks of what's gonna happen when it comes to the race to win the Champions League this year, because it's going to be a very interesting Champions League, because it's all the games are going to be in direct knockout. They're not going to have two legs, which I really feel prefers or favors the smaller teams, because it's easy to get a wild result in one game, but winning over two legs against a good team is difficult. You would always expect a good team to prevail over two legs. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I mean, just a spoiler, but I really feel Atlanta are a fair shout this season in the Champions League, at least making it to the deep stages. But yeah, let's see. Let's see what everyone thinks. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys tune in, have a listen, have a laugh, and please don't take anything we say seriously. I mean, really, it's just going to be proper fan opinions. yeah, we'll be rational. We'll be as rational as we can, but it's not fun. It's not fun if you're being objective and rational. You need to get your fan bias or your agendas sneak into your opinions, because I mean that's what makes watching football fun. I mean, if everyone was rational and logical about their opinions, Twitter would be the most boring place on the internet. But as you all know, Twitter is pretty interesting. So I guess that's it from me this week. So I hope to catch you guys soon. Make sure you stay safe, stay in, and let's all see this pandemic through so we can return to our normal lives, go out, have some fun with friends, meet up with people. I mean, I haven't met up with my friends in a long time, so really missing that. So see you guys. Hope you guys have a good week, and yeah, goodbye.